We're going to have a little fun today, and we're not going to change seats, but we're going to change roles. I'm going to do the interviewing. He's going to do the responding.
Got it.
And the reason for that is I want you to hear about this young man's experience over the last 20 years. And that's the first thing I want to ask you about.
Okay.
You've been here for over 20 years.
Yep.
That's a long time.
23, almost 23 years.
And I can remember when you started working. We were up in a big warehouse up north. And you sat behind that desk and you helped customers and you did all kinds of things and you managed the customer service employees. But I know in the back of your mind, you thought all this dietary supplement business was a bunch of hooey.
Yep.
And I know that you thought, this stuff doesn't really work. It's just what people believe.
Yeah.
Well, has your viewpoint changed?
You know, when I first told everyone that of my belief of vitamins and supplements and nutrients were somewhat, in my belief, a placebo effect back then. That was a long time ago, 23 years ago. And I was super uneducated on vitamins and nutrients. I don't remember the exact age I was, but if it's 23, I was definitely still in my 20s. So it really made me, I feel like it gave me almost a head start because I was more open-minded to anything that was able to be shown to me. Not in a way of saying, well, that's a lie or that's a placebo or that's not believable. I was more of like, well, just show me. And after seeing the life and hearing experiences from people that bought Phoenix vitamins and Phoenix Nutritionals formulas, once I saw that and heard stories from so many people on a day-to-day basis, it kind of just broke down the barriers in my head, and I had to say, look, you have to allow and educate yourself on this because it's not what I thought it was. And I was just arrogant and uneducated and maybe a little stuck in my ways and didn't believe it. But now 23 years later, after seeing so many people's lives changed in such a positive way, I'm 100% in.
You're hooked. Well, you know, a lot of people have the erroneous belief that you don't need supplements until you get old.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not the case. In fact, you started taking supplements fairly shortly after you went to work there.
Yeah.
But why do you think that supplements are essential for every person at every age?
Well, that's a perfect example. I was still in my 20s. I still felt incredibly invincible. I felt like the Iron Man every day. I feel like I needed nothing. And once I did the education, once I did the research and became educated on it, I said to myself, you know, why would I not try to utilize some of this if I'm already at the source, utilize it to better myself? And, you know, 8 years later, through a lot of the work that you showed me, I was able to lose 60 pounds. I mean, that's just one part of it.
Yeah.
But
I will talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, but I figured out, and then being a skateboarder, I realized I always knew being a skateboarder, even from being in the teenage years of skateboarding, that eventually it was going to come back to bite me. And so I thought back then, what would be better than me hedging my bet now for when the ferryman came to pick me up on the ride of the joint problems I was about to have, you know? So I think that invincibility keeps people from educating themselves and doing the research in their 20s when I think they should. Obviously over 50, but I really think that now, from what I know after 23 years being here, when you get to your 20s, you're not eating right. Let's just be truthful. You know you're not eating right. You know you're not sleeping right. You're grinding hard. You're probably working, if you're in California, you probably got a couple jobs, and you need all the help you can get. At least that's my view.
That's right. And if people would do that in their 20s, they wouldn't have as many problems in their 50s.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you mentioned earlier about your weight loss, and I want you to talk a little bit about that. At some point in time that I don't remember, maybe you do, you started to gain quite a bit of weight. And you got to the point where you're downright chubby.
Yeah.
And, but my weight management program, I was just finalizing it in those days. And I sort of admittedly now used you as a bit of a guinea pig.
Yeah.
But it worked. You lost 60 pounds. And
through it, I learned that I was carbohydrate
intolerant.
Carbohydrate intolerant, and your ability, that education that you educated me on, I was able to take control and do the right thing, change my diet, add the right formulas, and in about 8 months, I lost 60 pounds.
Yep. And you always hear about people that the dreaded fear of yo-yo dieting. Lose 20 pounds and gain 25. Lose 25 and gain 30.
Yep.
And it was many years ago. I can't remember, but it must be 10 plus years ago now.
It's about 10 years.
And you have been able to maintain your ideal body weight ever since.
Yes.
And I think that's probably because we did it right. But tell people a little bit about how you did it. I mean, what did you eat? What did you do?
Well, once I found out that I was carbohydrate intolerant, because of genetics, and then the breaking down of everything that I was already eating and stuff, it was pretty easily seen what I had to do. I had to slowly get myself off of carbs. And there was some things that happen, you have to end up taking a little extra fiber. You need to drink a little bit more water. Because even in my 20s, I still, there's effects to changing your diet that you have to kind of balance out. And you told me that about like your mandatory cheat days that you talk about all the time. I had to find that balance. And I think that's why it took me 8 months. And it wasn't like I was in a hurry. I wasn't trying to beat a race. I wasn't trying to run a sprint. But at times, there's up and downs. And sometimes you don't have a good day and you eat the wrong thing because of whatever, stress or convenience, or just not having a good day. But once I got through that and kept fighting through it, that's the truth. I've been able to maintain 175 pounds for 10 years off
without
of your
endless
program.
dieting.
Without endless dieting. As a matter of fact, in the past 3 years on and off, my cheat days are as nice as anything you can imagine. And I'm still maintained 175 for the last 10 years, about every week, every Wednesday when I weigh myself. And I don't encourage you to weigh yourself all the time, but because that's also not good mentally, especially when you're trying to go through that. But for me, it helped me stay on course.
Yep. Well, you've been now at Phoenix for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's a long time. It's a big chunk out of somebody's life.
Yeah.
So let's conclude this video with one more question.
Okay.
Was it worth it?
Oh, definitely. I think me becoming a part of Phoenix Nutritionals back then in my 20s have helped me avoid so many things that I've seen my other peers go through. And by me understanding and getting so educated early in my 20s, I have avoided those pitfalls because I knew where to go and I knew where I needed to research to get there. Then on top of that, seeing the products from Phoenix Nutritionals change people's lives. And I've been at Phoenix Nutritionals for 23 years. You don't just have a business for 23 years out of luck. The products and the formulas are consistent. We were one of the people that were GMP certified before any other nutritional company in America was. I'm not just bragging. I'm actually saying this is what we did. And then on top of even that, it was even my point about saying about the so long and it not being lucky is because when you change somebody's life, you get a referral from their their family gets referred, their friends get referred, then their family gets referred, then their family gets referred, then their friends get referred, and it's an endless row of dominoes because of the word of mouth of when you change somebody's life, they feel almost indebted to you and they spread the word. And what could be a better way to help a business than the fact that you changed their life, they spread the word, and 23 years later, you're here.